Consistency exactly people would like to know from a person who has actually been there, done it.
See, there are a lot of things you should do every day, newspaper reading and attending classes. But whatever you're doing, you should do it every day, every week, every month. You should do it consistently.
I'm pretty sure you would have gotten those
Yes,
calls
yes.
from coachings ki bhai we'll pay you this much, we'll do you this much. Have you first gotten those calls and how did you react to those calls?
Honestly, I was surprised. I was not expecting this.
A team as big as some other law institutes. So how did you decide on 12 minutes to CLAT is what I want to understand. In our classes were ultimately a part of that question.
All the questions which came were from the class. Guys, if you are writing the exam, please check all the OMR, all the markings.
Hello everyone, I'm Keshav Malpani as usual and welcome back to 12 Minutes to CLAT. Today we have our most awaited guest for this particular year, Nathan Prabu, who got an All India rank of 5 in CLAT 2026 and a score of 110.5. Now this is a feat that very few people are able to achieve with this sort of score and this sort of rank. So the point of this conversation today is going to be taking you through Nathan's journey of 1 year of preparation, how he joined us, what are certain things that he did, certain things that did not work out, did work out, and ultimately he was able to achieve this particular feat. So Nathan, thank you so much for sparing time,
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward for a very fruitful conversation today. First, take us through your introduction as well as to people would generally like to know ki who is our All India Rank 5 and where has he come from, what has he done, how did he come to know about CLAT, how did he start preparing, those basic things first.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathan Prabu and I'm from Chennai. I've secured All India rank 5 with a score of 110.5 and honestly law is something I was not planning to. I never thought I'd do this. So actually when I was in 9th and 10th I realized I didn't have much passion for science. And at school, like I used to do a lot of debates, a lot of quizzes, and law is I like arguing, I like talking. So and then my full family is engineers. My grandparents are engineers, my parents are engineers. I will become a first generation lawyer now. So I like talking, right? So in that sense, I like law as a profession. So it took some convincing of my parents, but in the end, I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad I chose this profession. So.
I think Nathan is one person that over the period of time, I've been speaking to him for quite some time now. You come out as a very shy person, if I'm not wrong. Like, are you? You say you love
I don't.
speaking.
Yeah, I love speaking. I debate a lot for my school. I'm a very social person. Yeah, I'm definitely not introvert.
Okay. This boy now obviously is going to NLSIU Bangalore. So when you were preparing for CLAT, when you had started this preparation, everybody looks forward going to this law school, particularly which is considered Mecca for law in India. Did you also have that sort of an understanding that, okay, this is where I want to land up ultimately? And what was that thinking that was going on while the preparation was going on?
So I didn't want to keep my hopes like too high. I mean, everybody wants to go to NLSIU, but I am sure I would have been satisfied with any tier 1 NLU, even Gandhinagar or anything. That's great place. But of course, I was aiming for NLSIU Bangalore. A sub 100 rank was my aim when I gave CLAT, but I would have taken anything. It's like whatever my preparation was, I would be okay with the result.
Right.
So the preparation is more important.
Correct. And there are certain ups and downs in the preparation. And one thing that in our conversations you have mentioned a lot of times is you have to be consistent. It doesn't matter what sort of student you are, what your background is, whether you're a humanities, commerce, or a science student. What is exactly that consistency? I mean, I also talk about consistency a lot in my videos, but what is consistency exactly? People would like to know from a person who has actually been there, done it.
See, there are a lot of things you should do every day, newspaper reading and attending classes. But whatever you're doing, you should do it every day, every week, every month. You should do it consistently. Consistency is doing whatever you're doing, but doing it regularly. For me, consistency was reading the newspaper. Every day on the way to school, in my school bus, I used to read the newspaper. Like I used to take it in my phone, I used to read it. Every week I do a mock on Sunday. That was consistency. Maybe not 2 to 4, but definitely I do it. Maybe 3 to 5 or 4 to 6.
Right.
Consistency was attending all the classes, was keeping current affairs note, and consistency was what helped me crack this exam.
So I also want putting myself in the shoes of a CLAT aspirant now. When I start my preparation, I always want to be consistent, right? I will stay consistent for about a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. When I actually start doing certain uncomfortable things, for example, let's say something like a mock test. I write my first mock test out of 120, I get let's say 50 or 40. Now that really disincentivizes me to go and prepare again with the same sort of intensity because I'm quite upset about that particular you could say score. So you would also have experienced these sort of times in your preparation. How did you keep on going throughout the preparation? I mean, I can understand for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, but how throughout the year?
Yeah, I agree actually. So if you do bad in a mock, I have my philosophy. It's a mindset, right? So you'll feel bad, but you should not let the sadness or the depression of that. It shouldn't leak. It should be confined to that one day. So if you want to be sad, you can be sad for that one day, but tomorrow is a new day. It's a fresh day. And honestly, if you do bad do bad in a mock, it just means there's that much scope for improvement. So I used to take that as a motivation instead of a drawback, right? If you change your mindset into a optimistic one, you can definitely keep going. It's not, you shouldn't feel bad. You should just feel incentivized to do more, not
Right.
disincentivized, right? So
I think this is a very mature approach. A lot of people sometimes, as students, are not able to apply it. But if you're listening to Nathan right now, this is what we need to do. We don't have to take things to our heart. We just try to have to, you could say, make it better every single day as we move. When you're starting a preparation like CLAT, I mean, in school, generally, when we are there, we have a limited syllabus. We know the sources to refer to. When you come to an exam like this, you don't exactly know what are the sources. I mean, you could refer to 10 sources also, and at the end of the day, you feel I've not done enough. My scores are not improving. So, how do you deal with that sort of uncertainty that comes with this particular exam?
see, CLAT as an exam is not like JEE or NEET. I absolutely agree. So before starting your CLAT preparation, there's a couple of things you should try to improve. CLAT is an exam of two things: speed and accuracy. So if you understand speed and accuracy, you can improve your speed, you can improve your accuracy, you can improve your scores, and you can crack CLAT. There is no notes, there is no syllabus, and that is definitely true. But there are mocks, there are mentors who can guide you. And honestly, as you do more mocks, as you practice more, as you make notes, you'll eventually come to understand. It's not something that comes in one day or in 10 hours or something. It's something that happens over a period of time.
Two things, particularly, which is very new to this particular exam, is reading newspaper, which we generally don't do while
Yes,
we are in
yes.
school. In school, we have this habit of first getting our syllabus completed and then go on to the tests. But for CLAT, you start your mock test within 2 weeks
Correct.
or maybe 3 weeks of
Yes.
starting the preparation. How to inculcate that habit is very difficult for most people to understand. How did you do that?
Honestly, reading newspapers is kind of boring, right? And I think everybody agrees with me. But you have to read it. It's not just for your news, it's for your English as well. Buy a subscription, and then whatever you like to read, you can read that. I used to start only reading the sports page. I used to leave the rest of the paper. But eventually, I got bored. I'm like, let me just check foreign section.
Yeah.
To this day, I still skip the business section because I can't read it. It's too boring.
Yeah.
But whenever if I found business passages difficult, I used to go back and try to read in that day's newspaper about the business passage. But eventually, as I started doing it, it just came along. And so mocks is another thing. Mocks is very uncomfortable, and if you've not done the syllabus, for sure, definitely. But all my mentors, all the seniors, everybody has told to start doing mocks as soon as you can. I gave my first mock within the first week I joined 12 minutes to CLAT, and I did not score very well, but I improved. So
See, the point here, what he's trying to make is that you have to give it some time. There will be certain things that will work out for you. There'll be certain things which won't work out for you, but you have to trust your capacity and capability, and then you could say back it up with, you could say, the time that you gave. So you're saying you gave 4 to 5 hours every day to the preparation. That's very important. Also, you were doing it with school. I mean, that's not easy because people who go to school, they spend half of the day in school and then coming back and sparing those 5 hours every day. How did that schedule work out for you?
So definitely in the starting of my preparation, which was the first few months, it was very difficult. It was a very bumpy road, and I had to study for my for my class 11th exams and all that. Eventually, you get into a kind of a zone, and it becomes like a highway. Over there, whenever the exams come, I used to study for the exams. I used to take 2-3 hours, but I ensured that I never left CLAT. I used to always do something from CLAT.
And I think I spoke to your mom also recently, and she also had some very good things to add to your preparation. And she was also discussing as to how she contributed to your preparation or your parents contributed to it. I would like to hear it from you as well. And I think this, for a lot of parents who are, you could say, watching us right now, for a lot of students who feel that their parents can become slightly more supportive, or even without knowing what CLAT is or subject or the subject matter, can help you understand how to, deal with that mental stress about the preparation. So, what was your parents' contribution particularly?
Yeah. My parents had a huge role to play. I'm very grateful to them, grateful to God. Actually, every time I used to do a mock, I used to go and tell my dad, tell my mom, like I scored so much, I did so much in maths. And sometimes I wouldn't score good in math. And I used to tell them I have to work more on math. I need to do some more sections. They tell me do it. They help me a lot, especially during the exam times, right? I used to spend too much time studying for the exams, and I used to neglect CLAT. So they used to tell me, all right, that's enough of schoolwork. You can do some CLAT. Same goes the other way. Whenever I had an exam and I was preparing too much for CLAT, they tell do it later, study some school.
So, despite scoring so well, there would be something in the preparation that you feel could have been better. So, if I ask you one thing that you can still change about the preparation, what would that be?
I don't know. I think I did everything pretty well, but towards the last 15 days, I became worried. I became anxious. So I didn't handle that period very well. But then, as I moved forward after the first few days, I realized, if I just treat CLAT as another mock test, I've done so many mock
Right.
tests. CLAT is another mock test. I just went with that mindset. I didn't think about everybody else who was writing. So I felt that was one thing that I could have really struggled, but I handled that well.
And what was the contribution of 12 minutes to CLAT ka course also, because you were there with us for an entire year? You joined us in December 24. You cleared the CLAT exam in December 25. How was that 1 year journey with 12 minutes to CLAT also?
Before I joined 12 minutes to CLAT, I was at a zero. I was very bad at CLAT. But 12 minutes to CLAT gave me guidance. They gave me support, the classes, the strategy sessions, mock analysis videos, current affairs videos, most importantly. I scored very well in current affairs. And we even had analytical reasoning classes. So they also helped me gain some confidence in the exam. 12 minutes to CLAT has helped me a lot. I owe a great deal of my success to them. No other coaching. I've not gone to any other coaching which has claimed me. So I'm very thankful.
Which is
to 12
also
minutes to
very
CLAT.
interesting. So if you look at rank 1 to 4, they've been claimed by multiple
Yes,
coachings, right?
yes.
3 coachings are claiming every rank. Rank 5 is just 12 minutes to CLAT. So I'm pretty sure you would have gotten those
Yes,
calls
yes.
from coachings ki bhai, we'll pay you this much, we'll do you this much. Have you first gotten those calls, and how did you react to those calls?
Honestly, I was surprised. I was not expecting this.
Huh.
But I said no, I mean, pretty clearly. Like, I want to give my support 12 minutes to CLAT. They have helped me a lot. So
Yeah, right.
I don't want to mislead students that way.
Coming to 12 minutes to CLAT and committing an entire year is also a commitment for a coaching
Yes, yes.
that may not be as flashy with its advertisement and may not have a team as big as some other law institutes. So how did you decide on 12 minutes to CLAT is what I want to understand.
For me, I wanted to do my preparation online. And if you look at the other institutes, even if you look at their toppers and rankers, they would all be from offline centers. So I needed a coaching which was good online. If you actually go down and check the best coaching for online, I felt was Swimmers to CLAT because they didn't have any offline center. They gave a lot of attention to its students and interactive sessions, strategy classes. So I liked 12 minutes to CLAT because they gave me the attention I needed.
Right.
They helped me be consistent and
No, I mean, the question is slightly on the pre-CLAT part. They say after you came, you realize it's good. And
Yeah,
most
yeah.
of our students generally have a very good review of us. But how to make them understand this before the CLAT exam? Let's say, for example, some XYZ institute also you would have figured out, okay, this is one institute and this 12 minutes to CLAT. How do you decide between A and B now?
Yeah, so there were a few popular institutes, right? So the first thing I went and I saw their YouTube videos. I saw YouTube videos of all different coachings. I liked 12 minutes to CLAT the most. It was the most affordable also for what it was offering. There were like everyday classes for like almost, it was very less compared to other institutes. So for me, 12 minutes to CLAT was the best choice. So, and I don't regret the choice, by the way. So
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, so this particular conversation is clearly going to help us as to how the preparation started and how it all went for Nathan. Obviously, we were not expecting that he would score a lot of rank 5 straight away and because would do so well. But generally, I always had a confidence in this boy that the way he was scoring, and there was always ups and downs in the preparation, like you also mentioned. And I think that is something that all of us got to learn, that there are going to be good days in the preparation, there are going to be very bad in the preparation. Expect more bad days than good days in the
Yes,
preparation, but you have to go on till the end.
Yes.
One last thing about about this discussion that I want to, you could say, know from you for the CLAT aspirants for 2027. A lot of people feel that we are very average, where English is not as good, or we are probably not cut out for this exam. What is your advice to those people? How do they improve themselves in the remaining time and ultimately, you could say, join you in your law school?
I would not say it's an aptitude exam, right? You don't need to be smart or to crack it. Your reading should be good, and reading can be improved by reading more books. Your reading speed needs to improve more importantly, and that also will happen by reading the newspaper. When you read the newspaper, a lot of these problems
Yeah.
get solved. Your speed, your vocabulary. If your reading improves, you automatically get 80, 90 marks, and then the rest 10 marks is current affairs. You have to do classes for that. And maths. Maths is a section where a lot of people struggle.
Correct.
So I'd suggest practice for maths. A lot of sectionals, lot of concepts should be clear.
You always had this mindset of attempting all 120 questions in the exam, and you actually did that in CLAT as well, and you were able to score 110.5. What is this mindset? Because most people are quite conservative about their attempts because they feel that we'll get a lot of negative marking. So how were you thinking when you thought of attempting all 120?
Even if you look at it like probability wise, even if you attempt a random option, you still have a 25% chance of getting it right. And in an exam like CLAT with only 120 questions, the cutoffs can go pretty high. If you are saying I'll only attempt 110, 115, you're limiting yourself.
Correct.
So, and most questions you can narrow it down to one or two, right? Or to two options, two or three options. And at that point, it's recommended to take that leap of faith and it will work out. Like you
Yeah.
will definitely get more marks than negative marking. Attempting 120 questions is a no-brainer. Everybody should attempt 120 questions, or as many questions as you can, you should attempt. So if you're reading the question, you should attempt the question.
I think this makes a lot of sense. And going forward, because we've seen the cutoff for this particular year, a lot of us feel that this cutoff was unreal because we've not seen this sort of a cutoff for CLAT particularly. This is something that we need to change about the preparation, is taking our attempts to as close as possible to 120. That's I think one of the most
Yes,
important
yes,
things.
definitely.
So one very important thing that a lot of people like to understand and they're never able to get settled with this is the pattern of attempting questions in CLAT.
Yes.
I mean, this time something very weird happened where all the different sets have very different pattern that they
Yes,
had given.
yes.
So what was your section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and how did you ultimately settle down to a point that this is how I'm going to attempt it?
Okay, so there's a general answer and there's a specific answer for me. So the general answer is a reading section, a reading intensive section, and then a light section. So if you're doing logical, then after that you should be doing maths or GK. Now for me personally, my logical was pretty weak, right? So whenever I used to attempt logical, especially in the middle of the paper, my scores would drop. So for me, I would like to attempt logical in the first, so that I'd be with a fresh mind and I'd be able to take the time. I had the time and the opportunity to try to attempt everything properly. And then my maths was pretty good. So if I did maths in the middle of the paper, I was not able to solve the question, it would be a huge problem for me. I would take as much time as I could. It was like a ego problem for me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I would not leave maths. So because of that, my paper used to sometimes get messed up. So I used to do maths in the end. So my order was logical, legal, current affairs in between. So
Okay.
I used to try to finish logical and legal within the first 1 hour. Then current affairs, English, and maths, which was for the last three before the second 1 hour.
Okay.
So there was no specific time allotment for each section, but I tried to finish logical and legal within 1 hour, and then English, current affairs, and maths within the second.
Certain things that we've heard in this particular interview as well is you had a very positive approach to things, because if as a general CLAT aspirant, if I have, let's say, logical reasoning as my weak section, I would generally keep it at the last because I would be like, I just want to ignore this section like we do for maths for a lot of people. So you kept it at first so that you can do it with a fresh mind.
Yes.
Now this is although it comes very naturally to him, but since I obviously speak to a lot of CLAT aspirants every single year, one thing that you have to keep in mind is that if you're scared about something in the preparation, you have to start doing it from the first day itself. And you could say the first thing that you have to take up is that. For those people who are going to probably take a drop year going forward, there were certain things definitely you were not comfortable with and you tried to ignore it till the end. Please start from that, and that's going to be very important. But even if you had this positive approach towards the preparation, there would be one or two sections that were very problematic, like you said, logical reasoning.
Yes.
So what were those sections and how did you deal with those sections in the preparation?
So with logical reasoning, I of course started the mocks. I started doing mocks with logical reasoning as my first section. But to improve my accuracy, I used to do a lot of sectional tests. So I used to just, like, on the days when I didn't do mocks, I used to just take sectional tests of logical, 2 or 3 sectional tests. I used to just solve all the questions. I used to score pretty bad. I used to score worse than my mocks, but I used to learn from it. And there was
Yeah.
no timer, no nothing, so I could just improve my accuracy. Current affairs, of course, everybody struggles with that. I just did, I did your classes, I did the compendiums, whatever GK from the mocks, I wrote that down. I had a nice notebook, colorful notebook. So, and I just revised the notes and the mocks, I didn't score good in current affairs, even in towards the end
Yeah.
also, but in the end, in the final exam, I
I think everything that we studied in our classes were ultimately a part of that question.
all the questions which came were from the classes, from
Yeah.
the mocks at least.
Yeah. So one thing that we've gotten very clearly from this conversation is if you want to become a CLAT topper, you have to start doing things that are uncomfortable. So become comfortable in things that are uncomfortable, and that is 100% mantra to success. Also, a lot of people do well in mocks, particularly they get a 90 plus, 100 plus at times. You also used to get it sometimes. But the question here is that how do you execute that on the exam day? Because that's a different ball game altogether. So what was your mindset on that day? Looking at the paper, it's not as easy as it was in the last 2 years. The pattern that we expect or the kind of question that we expect. Most people were actually like very shocked when they looked at the logical reasoning section particularly. What was your mindset? I would still do 120 question. I would still want to clear it. What was that?
No, so CLAT is an exam. It's more of an adaptability exam. It's a mindset exam. So towards the end of my preparation, the mocks which I began doing them in an environment where, like, there used to be some noise. Somebody would come and go, and it was like an actual exam environment. So when I used to do mocks like that, I used to treat my mocks like the actual exam, so that the actual exam was like a mock for me.
Yeah.
So in that way, I was very chill in the day of the exam. I saw, my everybody around me. I was like, it's okay, relax, I'm there. So
I think these are certain things that we discuss in class also.
Yes.
You will find so many people there.
Yes,
You
yes,
need to
yes.
like align yourselves. You just have to think about yourself, become selfish on that day, all of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things.
No, so my center had 1,000 people, right? And there was so difficult to find parking. And I was like, so many people are writing CLAT in Chennai. And then I was like, oh my God. But I was like, I've prepared for it. I've done so many mocks. I've prepared for a year. There's no need to feel scared. And this, like, after 5 minutes of the exam, it became like a mock. Now the logical reasoning was unexpected. It was completely AR, and many people felt scared. But again, see, this is where mindset comes in, and adaptability, right? So I saw the AR as a opportunity to score more. Other people would feel scared and would feel, they should leave a
Yeah.
few questions. So a lot of people didn't score good because they left half of AR. I had prepared for AR, and I knew I could, if I scored well, my rank could, jump a lot. So I attempted
And I
everything
think
in
if you're
AR.
prepared for AR, it's easier to score in AR as compared to CR
Yes,
because you
yes.
know if you're right or wrong.
Correct, definitely. So my CR was pretty weak, right, in my preparation, but my AR was really good. So
Yeah. So the exam worked out perfectly fine for him. Everything that had to fall in place actually fell in place.
Yes.
And also take us through that point where you said that you had marked all 120 questions, but one question was not marked on that OMR for some reason, and it just shows as not attempted. What
Yes,
is
yes.
that problem?
And I went back and I saw everything and I thought I attempted all the questions. So but when I came back home and I saw the OMR sheet, one question was left. It was, and I knew the answer as well. It was the Ramnath Kovind question.
Yeah.
So I left that question. So, and then I was worried, have I marked it or not? Because in the end, I apparently had not marked it, but
Okay.
it's okay, guys. If you are writing the exam, please check all the OMR, all the markings. So
I mean, one thing that worked out for him is for a lot of people do is, let's say, for example, that was question number 70 in your case, right?
yes.
So question number 70, he missed out on. And what people do is they just sometimes mark it at 71. And before you realize, you move on to like back to back, you keep marking.
Yes,
And when you
yes,
reach
yes.
120, you realize, ki, oh, I'm marking it incorrectly. There is no second OMR
Yeah,
now.
so that is also true, and I changed the way I mark my OMRs also. So instead of doing like passage wise, right? I mean, I used to do it passage wise, but I used to take my pen and just put a small pinprick on the OMR I was going to circle.
Okay.
And I used to do it question by question. So like 69th question is A,
Hmm.
70th question is C. I just put the mark on C, and once I finish 5-10 questions, I'd circle it.
Oh, that
so
makes
that
sense.
way I would not make a mistake with this.
That's a very important and a very useful OMR strategy that a lot of us can follow going forward in our mocks as well and into the actual exam as well. So one thing that a lot of people miss out on particularly is that we're a little casual about a few subjects that we're not comfortable with. For example, maths, I'm not too comfortable. Even in GK, we say, ki, okay, last 6 months kar lete hain, let's leave the rest. How did you deal with that? Because considering you had completed everything. You said you completed AR also. People took it as a, you could say, side option. Ki, theek hai, ek question aayega, why to do it so seriously? So what was your mindset in the preparation while these things also would have come to your mind कि यार छोड़ देते हैं नहीं करते.
No, see, this is also an attitude and mindset question, right? You should have the mindset to score as much as you can, so you should try to do everything you can. CLAT is an exam without a syllabus, so you never know how much is enough. You should try to push yourself to the limit, try to do everything you can. So in that sense, starting early is very good. If you join a batch or do something, if you start early, you'll be able to cover more. Don't leave anything, right? Have that mindset. I want to get full marks. I want to get 120 or a 120, and then it'll work out. So
Right.
whatever happens, you'll be prepared for it.
I think very important. You need to have that mindset. I mean, CLAT preparation or you could say practice, concept, whatever is just 70% of it. 30% is your mindset as to how you deal with that entire drill. So CLAT result came at around 7-8 in the evening, and everybody was anyway expecting on that particular day, and we were just like scrolling or refreshing it. So how was your you could say reaction or your family's reaction? Your grandparents were there, your parents were there. How was their reaction when the result came out?
So actually, like, we were all expecting the result the next day, right? And then at like 4 o'clock, the page opened. So like from 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock, I was just refreshing again and again. And then I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. And I just left it and I got up. Legit, within 5 minutes, you called me. And then, everybody was saying results are out, results are out. So I came back and I refreshed the page. I sent you the screenshot, and then I told my parents and all that. Everybody was very happy. We were expecting a good rank,
Yeah.
a sub 50 rank, I think.
Yeah.
AIR5 was a good surprise. I was very happy. It's like all my preparation, all the hard work I put in, it's paid off. And everybody was happy. My parents have seen how hard I've been working.
Yeah.
And
So what I've generally seen is more than parents, your grandparents express a lot for their grandkids
yes,
generally.
yes.
So how was their reaction?
Yeah, my grandparents were actually, I'd say, even more happier than my parents. They were all laughing and calling family and friends and all that. So
Yeah. I think they would still do this for the
they
entirety of
would
the
do
year.
it,
Ki, bhai, my grandson did this, that.
Yeah.
So I think, this is what you give your family as well when you actually work hard and get a rank as good as Nathan. And this is something that you are genuinely going to take inspiration from him going forward. whatever is wrong in the preparation is wrong at the start. He was never perfect. I've been following him for the last 12 months. He was not even close to perfection or even good at the time where he started. But certain things, like you say, fell in place when he started, you could say, doing things on a very regular basis, followed the right sort of mentorship, followed the right sort of classes, the practice material, and everything. And that is what worked out for him as well. And we are going to certainly make sure at 12 minutes to CLAT that it falls out for hundreds of aspirants going forward in the next years as well. So obviously there are a lot of problems in choosing the right coaching center because most people are unaware. Obviously you encountered the problem, but how did you come up with that answer to it?
See, some people say that choosing, you don't even need to go to a coaching center, but I disagree. I think you benefit from the guidance, from the mentorship, and it gives you like a path which you can walk, right? And otherwise, doing it by yourself is very difficult. So you should choose a coaching center. How to choose a coaching center? You should look into what you need, what is your price range as well. And before committing to anything, check out the demo classes. Even 12 minutes to CLAT offers demo classes. I did them. I contacted the backend team and I did, I think, 2 demo classes or something. I made sure that what I was choosing it properly, right? I didn't want to jump into anything. So I would suggest doing demo classes, trying to pick something that works for you.
That's a very neutral advice, at the same time a very common advice. I also recently made a video on 5 things that you should definitely ask coaching centers before enrolling in. You can watch that video as well. It'll give you a lot of understanding. Don't fall prey to random advertisements or all under rank 1, all under rank 2. We know how that works. You know the entire fight that's going on about, you could say, these ranks. Just keep it simple. It's your preparation at the end of the day. Actually choose the coaching that you genuinely feel where you can put in that entire year of commitment and which is trustworthy. Don't go for flashy advertisement. Don't go for, you could say, any other thing that somebody has to tell you. And that, I think, will make certainly a big difference in your preparation. So I think this has added a lot of value to all the future aspirants who are going to follow your lead and how to go about it. So one thing that we can assure you that if you go to NLS, you'll have Nathan's mentorship there as well. And obviously he's going to be guiding you for CLAT as well going forward as much as possible. Thank you, Nathan, for again giving your time. And we really, really appreciate all the effort that you've put in the preparation and the effort at the time that you were able to take out. So he also has his board exams going forward. But we have taken an entire day of his time just to do, you could say, these strategy aspects where it can certainly help a lot of people going for CLAT 27 and other exams as well.
Thank you.